You know. But okay, so we still haven't talked about my Ken Levine story.
We need to do it because it's 2:40 something here, and I probably have to go to bed around 3 o'clock.
All right, that's cool. Well, I think that's enough time. And I'm just going to ask for the floor for a few minutes.
Yeah,
I think 7 hours of recording is good, but continue.
So I tweeted at Ken Levine. So I was talking about the Colbert thing. We ended up talking about the I'm saying us three ended up talking about the Colbert thing. And the thing was, I remember I just decided to check in on his, I saw that he had a Twitter, so I just kind of decided to check in. And I was just like, oh, I wonder if he said anything asinine recently. And Ken Levine being Ken Levine, yes, he had. He had tweeted something along the lines of, one of those really bullshit feel-good white people things, which I think the almost exact quote was, the next time you see the next big Twitter controversy, go create something good.
Yeah, that is 100% my least favorite argument of all time.
Yep.
Especially because it was something that I used to believe myself.
It's smart, right?
When you really look into it, it's the absolute most genius way to shut people up that I've ever heard in my life.
Yep.
It is the absolute #1 way to get someone who's saying something that you don't like to stop talking. Because when you say something like that, you're going, oh, well, if you want something to change, maybe you should get away from the discussion and go make something instead, and that will be your words for you, because I don't want to hear what you're saying.
So, it's an argument. It's an argument that's supposedly put up. If you're going to be a critic and want to actually make something, it doesn't make any sense. First of all, because it sort of undermines the whole point of discussion over things in the first place. It's just a derail. Honestly,
it really is. It's just another method to derail a conversation that you don't want to have because it requires that you look inward and maybe self-analyze yourself a bit.
Yeah, and self-analyze the incredibly destructive action that Ken Levine has put upon, just the total
which of course,
of people's livelihoods that he has made,
honestly, people will hear that and they'll be like, people will hear that and they'll be like, don't you think you're kind of pushing it? But no, that is 100% correct. Especially when you consider the way that Irrational closed down, absolutely, the way that he thinks is affecting people's lives. For sure.
Okay, let me get the floor again.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Go ahead.
So I got really mad at this because honestly, whatever amount of racist bullshit happened in 2013, I would say that BioShock kind of takes the cake on it because it was one of the things that was actually trying to be not racist. Possibly.
And in that process, it managed to be extra racist.
Yeah, exactly. I am going to quote, and I realize it's the white guy piece on it, but Brendan Keogh's piece on it just kind of summed up the whole damn thing so perfectly. And it was literally less than 1,000 words. I'm going to end up citing that piece until the day I die. Anyway.
That's a good sign.
What?
Go for it.
I said that's a good sign.
Yeah. It was so good. Hold on, I'm trying to find my original tweet because it got misquoted by Ken Levine.
Did it?
Yes, not in a way that seriously changed its content, but I think it's worth. I think it's Oh, and it was also one of these dumb things where he put RT in front of it and my Twitter tag, and it wasn't actually it's not a reply to me though, so it's not actually an interaction, so I can't just click on the tweet and then look back at my original tweet. Because he put
that too.
Yeah, he put my quote in it and then put a
and then put his little shitty little
exactly.
Little quip
I said
beginning.
Okay, hold on, let me find this
The thing is that he did that thing that Kamiya does. But the thing is that Kamiya usually has one-word responses for anything anyways, whereas Ken Levine is usually saying some shitty, fucking snarky white dude shit.
Yeah, okay.
I just did you find it?
Okay, I found my tweet. I didn't find his exact tweet, but I think I got his mostly right. And I said I just got so angry, and I usually wouldn't do this to a developer because I think it's almost kind of unfair, but I just decided to go for it in this case. And I said, "This sums up your entire narrative approach, retreating from the controversy by running to the center. What incredible cowardice."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and and literally his response is he quoted me as saying, "You retreat from controversy by running to the center," which that's not actually true. I said his games do that.
Oh,
Which
Yeah.
that's it.
which I don't want to make.
How did he respond? What was his response?
No, I didn't respond to him again. I just decided to let it hang. But I mean, he responded. I do enjoy some nice, tasty cowardice. Which, first of all, what the fuck does that even mean?
It doesn't mean anything. That's the point.
Exactly.
Right?
It's just like, oh, well.
Yeah, it's like whatever. It's just like you're a hater pushing in the corner.
Right.
It's
That
like,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
let me just stick my nose up and
Oh,
like not hear anything that you're saying.
and let me remind you that his handle is still at IG Levine, and that studio has been dissolved. So,
Yeah.
That's really sad. That's not cool.
yeah.
That's now I'm gonna just think about that every time I see that for Canon.
And this is the part where I got really annoyed. I understand that people have problems with pacifism and nonviolence as a philosophy because
I'm skeptical towards. That's all I'll say. I'm not against the idea of nonviolence, as though I see flaws. That's all.
right.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna say that it is generally something, and it might just more be a personal thing of I realize I have anger issues and therefore I'm trying to pursue an almost spiritualized path of nonviolence as sort of a personal guide of morality and that sort of thing. What I'm saying is that nonviolence is personally important to me. It's something that I picked up honestly from the Metal Gear games, and it was something that was it is I mean it's been really important to me. Like,
no, sorry. I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at a tweet. I'm sorry. I apologize.
yeah, no, I mean, like, like, in Metal Gear Solid, like, I literally had to have, like, I went through the act of killing people in a video game, and then I just did it enough times where I realized, man, this is fucked up.
Yep.
Like, and it's just, and it led me down this path of, like, of doing at least some pretty basic research into the idea of nonviolence, and at least just me making the choice personally that I am not going to be violent and I'm not going to support violence politically, which was huge, because I actually come from a military family, and my hey, you followed me,
Oh yeah. Hey.
and my parents have never been like super militaristic, even though they were both members of the Air Force. But I'm just saying it's the culture I grew up in.
Yeah.
But so what this other guy whose name is Will Edwards, and I maybe I shouldn't have even said that, but anyway, he responds with as Max Headroom said, I have no idea who that is. As Max Headroom said, all the violence society could do with a few cowards. And he this goes on. He said, "Yes, cowards. Isn't that what the military call people who prefer not to kill each other?" Which, fuck you. I'm going to come back to that in a second. Said, so it's about time all you cowards came out of the closet and got to know one another. You can all help. If you see a fight starting, get the names and addresses of the people with their hands in their pocket whistling or walking away. It may be simple, but it's a start. I just decided to leave that whole thing hanging. I'm like, I'm not going to engage this guy, because this guy probably doesn't know the first thing about pacifism as a philosophy. But fuck you for suggesting that military people are inherently violent like that, because most of these people come back from war incredibly personally scarred, and so many of them, and it's like, it's the truest cliche in Washington is that the biggest doves are the people who fought wars before, Like, the people who are making the biggest arguments against military excursions in other countries are the ones who were there before and realize how fucked up you can get,
Yeah.
Yeah,
just,
I mean, I don't have a good understanding, but I do wonder what actually, what are the motivations of people going into those things, and I don't think it's actually what we think it is. It's hard for me to believe that the most people going to wars that they're all like hard patriotists who
they're not. They're poor people looking for work.
Huh? What do you say?
They're not. They're poor people looking for work. That was my father, that was my mother, and that was all of his friends. Or not necessarily poor people, but I mean, people who
Necessity.
Out of necessity.
There's this like romanticized idea that if you become like a soldier, it's automatically because you want to go into another country.
You hear the call
kill hella brown people, and it's like, no, like, of course that exists, but like there's a lot of people that get into the military because it's gonna pay for their college, or it's going to pay for their home, or it's going to help support their family financially, or it's going to help them maintain getting like another job somewhere else so they can actually make the money that's required to survive.
even this thing too, and I feel like this is more a thing in America because America has a lot of these really just desolate, just almost apocalyptic rural areas that just have no resources. Or it's like I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who just feel like they have nothing future for them.
Yeah, like there's so many.
Nothing to do. Like there's like, what do I do with my life now? You know, and it feels like the military is the only real option for those people. You know, so it's a cultural thing as well. Especially, I think we're from the United States, where I feel like there are a lot of rural areas that are just so desolate, just so are just so drained of anything that can give people in those places a future, a sense of future. I mean, you know. I know they live in Maryland, so I don't know how Maryland is, but I guess I'm just trying to, you know, point to general
Well,
idea,
my father was from Arkansas, so yes, you're correct.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah, and yeah, so I mean, that's the thing is just like, you know, it's just, well, I mean, it's the same bullshit as always. It's just, you know, the broad overgeneralization of a culture, and it's also just talking down to me about nonviolence, which is something I understand probably a fuck of a lot better than he does. You know,
who was this person who said this?
It's some dude, and I really just I don't like attack him or whatever. You know,
okay, sure.
I'm just saying, you know, his name is Will Edwards. His handle is @WillDogma, and I just decided to
I'm
not.
Just curious, that's all.
Yeah, I just decided to not engage him because I mean, hey, I mean, I you know, I can see violence metaphorically, and I just, you know, I decide, you know, sometimes it's just best not to engage, you know, but you know, it's I don't know, it's just one of those things that, you know, one of those random incidences that just cuts to the core, you know, because it's just like,
yeah,
you know, well, I mean, the thing about it is that the thing about it to me is that, no, actually, now I can say something coherent about it. He was saying this in defense of Ken Levine, and here's the thing, and the thing about it is, how in the fuck do you get pacifism from Ken Levine's games?
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you get pacifism from a game where one of the first violent actions you take in the game is taking a fucking buzzsaw to somebody's neck for like 30 fucking seconds.
Yeah.
And just like watching as like it just like carves into their skin. I'm just like,
it's a really awkward scene. It just happens out of nowhere. He just really...
It's just like, oh, it's like, wow, that's crazy. And then, like, you count for, like, 10 seconds, and it's like, this is still happening?
Yeah.
Like, don't we get the picture that this dude is fucking dead?
Yeah, it was kind of awkward. But it's also this thing where I'm not even sure if it's much he gets passed out of the scene as much as he's entrenched in this culture that just idolizes Ken Levine. I don't understand it, and it fucking bothers the shit out of me. The way Ken Levine gets put up as this just intelligent, politically
people
nuanced
talk about, like,
author, but he's not.
Like, the next generation of gaming and how it's done, like, all these things differently. But it's like, no.
Yeah,
when you really think about it, Bioshock
it's a watered-down MGS2.
You know, watered down what?
Watered down MGS2.
Oh, look at that.
I'm gonna say it till the end of fucking time.
But MGS2 is Japanese, so it doesn't count, right? It's not.
Exactly. Thank you. Everyone understands what I'm about now.
MGS2 has non-lethal capabilities, so therefore it's automatically worse than Bioshock.
It's just there's this culture around Ken Levine.
And that's the other thing. It's like,
me. Like, it's just like what that just idolizes him, that paints him as just this politically nuanced auteur. When his claims clearly show that he doesn't really understand these politics very much.
His games show that he does. His games show that he doesn't understand game design very much.
Could you imagine if Bioshock was made by a black dude? How many people do you think would give a shit about Bioshock if it was made by a black dude? Really?
Jeez. You know, I feel like I asked myself if that black dude would actually get as many interviews and what his place in the culture would be, because it wouldn't be the way Ken Levine is. It definitely, like Ken Levine just put up so much.
And you know,
I don't understand why. Because Ken Levine has never demonstrated to me an actual, real understanding of political nuances everyone seems to assume of him.
I have never seen a single Ken Levine production in which I've gone, wow, this guy definitely has something to say.
You know, it's just like. There's so much pretension in Bioshock Infinite. Like, it's all just such a ploy. Like, it just comes out at you. It just feels like such an act. It feels so fake, Bioshock Infinite as a game. You know, it's such an image to me. It
really is.
It's just like yeah. Like, it's so
you know,
gross.
it's kind of sad. I mean, Bioshock Infinite was just so bad that I remember literally I was playing the game. And I remember going like, okay, they're clearly going for the really dumb, everyone can be bad type thing, you know, so et cetera, et cetera. Literally, the only way they could get worse is if the words were to come out of a character's mouth that they're basically exactly the same. And at that moment, at that moment, Booker DeWitt says, you know, the only difference between